So today we're going to do a video on the Pacific Energy Super 27 wood stove. I've had this stove for about 2 years. Pretty happy with it so far. We got about a 1,300 square foot house and it heats the whole house no problem. Pretty basic setup, using the magnetic temperature gauge or thermometer that just sits on top and kind of gives you a rough idea of how hot the fire is going. I like to keep it, I don't know if you can see that, in the white zone, between 400 and 600 degrees Fahrenheit. Got the convection fan and the kettle, mostly just decoration and to discourage the cats from jumping up on the stove. I'm not too convinced that the convection fan does a whole lot, but I'm sure it has some effect. Yeah, and real basic sort of setup here too. It's got the one toggle here for the draft. All the way to the left is high and start, and then when the fire is going I like to put it down to low. Pretty decent size firebox in there. It's got a baffle, I don't know if you can see that. So really efficient, good burn time. Yeah, I'll go ahead and do a fire and show you guys how it works. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and set up this fire. I've been kind of using the top-down method lately. It seems to work pretty good. There's like a million different ways you could do this, but I find I have to fiddle with it a lot less, especially if I use a lot of kindling. So I kind of just set up like a little schoolhouse or whatever you want to call it, a box. Yeah, the more kindling you use, the easier it is. So that's something I learned from last year. But I think like starting a fire is one of those things that everyone's got their way and it's the best way, so I'm just showing you how I do it. I've also got these little fire cube starter brick thingies. They work pretty good too. A little more consistent than using a balled up piece of newspaper, so I just kind of scatter them around inside. Another thing I like about this stove is, yeah, I swept it at the end of last season, and it was surprised of how little creosote I had in the chimney. Burned about a cord, so I'm going to burn a little more this year, so I imagine I'll have quite a bit more, but I guess because of the baffle and because of how efficient it is, it doesn't really produce too much as long as you're using pretty good seasoned wood and everything. The wood I got this year isn't the greatest. Could probably use another year of seasoning. Over my lighter. There it is. So I'll go ahead and get this going, and so you guys can see how it operates and how well it works. So we've been burning now for maybe 10 minutes. Like I said, the wood isn't that great, but as you can see now, the convection fan's moving and starting to warm up. See if I can get you a shot of the thermometer there on top that I showed you before. So yeah, it's at about 200. It's slowly creeping up. When it gets into the white zone between 400 and 600, I'll turn the draft down. So I'll let this go for a little bit longer. I'll speed it up a bit just so you can guys see how well it burns. And then once it's up to temperature, I'll see if I can get a shot of the baffle doing the reburn of the gases going up the chimney. So yeah, as you can see, we're rolling along pretty good here. Just starting to get into the white arc there between 400 and 600 degrees. So I'm gonna dial the draft down a bit and see if I can get you guys a shot of the reburn on the baffle. So I turn it down to half maybe to start and see how it behaves. And yeah, you can kind of see the reburn there. So that's just the gases going up the chimney and getting sucked back in and reburned by the fire, so making this a really efficient stove. When it's really going, I like to keep it all the way to low, and I bring it back maybe an inch, and that's good for the day. Yeah, so with a load of wood like this, I mean, this will be good for a couple hours. I mean, I could leave this the whole day. It'll make a nice bed of coals and still spit out quite a bit of heat. I'm in Eastern Ontario, so winters get pretty cold. Like this winter's been pretty mild. But yeah, it gets pretty cold, and like I said, this stove heats the house no problem. I got the stove in the basement, so the heat just goes right up the stairs there, and then at the top of the stairs I've got a ceiling fan. I don't know if you can see it, and that just circulates the heat. And then what else I'll do is I'll run the fan on the furnace just to. Oh, there's Kitty trying to get in. I'll run just the fan on our propane furnace just to push the heat around, and it works really well. I can keep the whole house at 23, 22, no problem. Just gonna kick the draft up a bit. Yeah, and if I'm not careful, like this room gets real hot, so it's really good stove. So I'll try and get you some shots of a little later on after the fire has been going for a bit. And yeah, thanks for watching.